Hey, friends. Welcome to the Self-Love Strong podcast. And today we have a very special guest, Nicole Hope Sylvester, a pioneer in nervous system-based wellness and the founder of Bodywise Wellness. With over 15 years of experience, she specializes in helping individuals and organizations regulate stress, prevent burnout, and build resilience through somatic healing and holistic practices. Nicole's personal journey from burnout to balance fuels her mission to guide others to reconnecting with their bodies and achieve true well-being. Nicole, welcome to the show. I'm so excited you're here.
Oh my gosh, Sam, I am so excited to be here too. I am loving the concept of this and the work that you're doing to help people with your training and everything. I think it's amazing. And I love being able to, that we get to spread the word and help people feel better in their lives just through the work that we're exposing them to.
Yes, it's so powerful. And I love exactly the work that you're doing. I mean, it's so timely and it's really needed. But I'd love for you to share with us. Can you share that pivotal moment that led you to develop that body-wise approach when it comes to wellness?
Yes. So just to give some geolocation, I'm in the Bay Area, so near San Francisco. And I grew up here, like in kind of an affluent area in this region because there's so much range and I pretty much was kind of raised in this very kind of narrow approach to being a person. Like, this is what you do and this is what you do, and check your boxes and, be successful and know what you want and go to college. And for me, it was like, have kids, do this. And so that was it's a normal thing. So I kind of want to normalize that. Like, I'm not whining about it. Like, this is how we as people live, just in case you're like, hey, that happened to me too. I thought I had to do all these things and I had the perfect plan. And so I want to say, like, that is how, like, kind of how our subconscious and nervous system is designed. Take in our outside and external data and go, this is what you do because this is how you stay alive, because that's what people do. And you need to be able to be by people. So that's what happened to me. Was really good at it, really good at taking in external data and from my parents and where I was raised. And where I was raised, like, everybody's driving fancy pants cars and living in mansions and And I didn't care about the money part so much, but you had to be successful, right? I remember being in high school and I was like, oh, I got into these UCs and state schools. And my friends all, oh, you're not going to an IV? Like, just to give some origin to that, right? Like, you're not going to an Ivy League school? That's weird. Why, And so we can know ourselves, but it's also very easy to maneuver and succumb to other people's expectations of us or what their norms are. And I had a lot of anxiety when I was younger. And when you have high anxiety, it tends to mean that for a million different reasons that we don't have time to get into, you definitely learn how to be a little bit more sensitive to other people's behaviors and understand it so you can predict better what they want and they need. So they want to be friends with you and keep you included and all that. And that includes creating very specific life plans about who you need to be in order to be included forever. And so that was where I landed. And I really went from one of those high level success jobs. I was a teacher, which was amazing. And that was perfect for me. But I had a very prescribed, like, I'm going to go to school. I'm going to go to college. I'm going to become a teacher. I'm going to get married. I'm going to have my children. I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom. It's going to be amazing. Like, this is how it goes. And I'm apparently a phenomenal manifester because I did all the things and checked every single one of my future boxes. So woohoo. And then midway through, when my kids were really young, 2 and 5, I got really sick because I was, I'm going to be teaching and I also, like, prove my value. I'm going to do fitness instruction too, but I'm going to be doing this and doing that and be the perfect mom and stay up all night with my children so they survive and live and thrive, right? And then I also want to do things for me and I need to be in perfect body shape. So if I teach fitness, that's like my little, I've made a hobby, a jobby kind of thing. and then it's a beautiful excuse for me to justify the fact that I didn't want to leave all the time and go work out, but I'm really teaching. So I'm making money. So then that makes it okay. These, like, all these little hacks, like internal mind hacks So I was doing all of that and then just started my anxiety, which should have been if I'd known now what I know now then, right? What I would have told my young self was like, oh, sweetheart, you have a lot of nervous system dysregulation. You need to get that under control before you just keep moving forward. But I didn't know that. And so I ended up starting to get really like severe anxiety. My psychologist at the time said I was an Olympian of anxiety because he knows that I like to win. So he was like, great, you're number one on the podium. You have a gold medal in anxiety. Well done. And I'm like, thank you. So my anxiety went through the roof, panic attacks. Like I gave myself full body rashes. I couldn't see well. I couldn't chew well because my jaw was so tense and tight. I had my ears hurt, and I had all these pains like in my stomach and pelvis area. Mind you, I'm also like, right, I know fitness, I know the body, and I'm like, oh God, it must be disease, it must be this. Went to the doctor a million times, having them check, which I hated going to the doctor, but check everything. And then it got to the point where I couldn't even swallow, which, fun fact for anyone listening, and I will actually, this is great info for you too. What I realize is as you get more stress in the body, your diaphragm contracts and it doesn't really release as well. And as it continues to contract, and then add a bunch of crunches to that, or like like knee pull-ups and things, right? Because I'm teaching fitness and working out and all that stuff. It's actually pushing those muscles and organs even closer to the lungs and to the esophagus till the fascia adheres to itself. And so it would constrict my esophagus. So I couldn't swallow because all those muscles in the diaphragm were tight. And so the esophagus was tight too. And so it was creating this like really tight space to try to consume food and liquid. So I like to share that fun fact because in Eastern medicine, they call it plum pit throat. And they go, oh, that's like one of the main symptoms of anxiety. But that's because of diaphragm, right? And we breathe into the chest and not into the diaphragm and the belly and so on and so forth. So anyway, couldn't swallow. And I was like heartburn, all the things that go with that. And then there were two big things that happened. We went on a family trip and I felt so fatigued that I could barely walk, right? I'm a fitness instructor. I'm training for triathlons, blah, 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 blah. And I woke up one day out of the bed and we're supposed to go look at trains with the kids. And I was literally bracing myself on railings as we're walking. But there's not technically anything wrong with me. So that was pretty scary because I'm like, that's beautiful. That's great data for your little anxious mind to feed on and access to the internet. And then part two was I was driving my children home. I had my daughter in the car, and then we picked up my son from preschool and driving back, and I was pretty tired, and I fell asleep at a stoplight with the kids in the car. And I was like, well, that seems pretty dangerous. And there must be something that's pretty wrong. And that made me shift my approach to alternative, more holistic methods. So that was kind of my pivot point. And, because I'd seen psychologists and doctors, and I don't like to like rag on Western medicine. It's just Western medicine is half of a story. And so you really need to turn to Eastern, which has that more like understanding the energy body or understanding the nervous system better and understanding like subconscious, like they consider your emotions and all these other things. Whereas in Western medicine, we're kind of just looking at it point blank and not considering like kinetic chain or, the overlap of mind and body. And that's fine. Like, again, it's just half a story. So you have to make sure you go look at the other half. So when Western medicine says you're cool, or here, we don't, or mentally, you're hosed, you're an Olympian of anxiety, take this pill. And I'm like, no offense, they're great. And they are. So I don't want to ever cap on that. They are beautiful, taking medicine for mental illness is very valuable. And consider working with the nervous system at the same time. Gives you some space to start going, okay, but this is also very symptomatic of things that are happening inside my body. And so we want to work on them together. So like again, kind of like a Western medicine meets Eastern medicine approach. So I started seeing acupuncturist. Amazing. She's poking me with all the needles. All of a sudden, my world, which is black and dark and kind of really dismal, I can see color again. I have clarity to think again. My body starts to heal. I can swallow again. And that was great, but I'd have to go once a week to go get my body fixed. And I'm like, well, that's not sustainable. Like, it's wonderful. And I suppose if I was a millionaire or a billionaire, then I probably would get acupuncture pretty frequently because it is so good for you. But I was like, I can't afford it. And then I went and saw, my friend recommended a spiritual counselor who did energy work on me. And I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. And she's just like, well, let me read your chakras, which, by the way, there are very real energy centers in the body. It doesn't have to be straight woo. So get curious about the overlap. I feel like energy in the body is like Einstein talked about it. So it's our one beautiful overlap of like spirituality and very real physical human being. And so if you've never ever indulged in looking into that at all, I just invite you to get curious, because we are literally, not figuratively, literally made of energy particles and like protons and stuff, just like everything else. So just, if I can invite you into that world for a moment to consider, then I'm doing a good job. So anyway, so I went and saw the spiritual counselor and literally sat down, and I couldn't even talk. I was just crying. I was like, this is like, I'm in depression. I can hardly get out of bed. I'm taking care of the kids. I fall asleep at stoplights. Apparently now that's my MO. I need like crutches to walk around, like something's seriously wrong. And she just goes, well, your body's just out of whack energetically, if you will. And she starts moving, and literally, if you're watching this instead of listening, right, she starts going like this, and she's like, oh, I'm working with your chakras. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what you're talking about, but do what you got to do. Like, whatever makes you feel better. And similar to the acupuncturist, I left with clarity, with color, with like ease, with love in my heart again. It was amazing. So I saw her for quite a long time, actually. Unfortunately, during COVID, she passed away, not from COVID, thank goodness, but from other situations. But I do miss her. But even seeing her, I loved her so much. And she helped me so much, both with just re-perceiving life and then helping with energy work. But it wasn't giving me the empowered skills to take care of myself, right? And I'm like, that's my big crux, if you will, about all of our services, really, is like, my goal in life, maybe not just like coming back to even first grade teaching. I don't want you to be in first grade forever. Like, I don't want you to keep trying to relearn the alphabet, like, and learn how to read. I want you to learn these skills so that you leave this and go do it for yourself, so that you are empowered reader in your own life, right? So in human adulting, right, I want you, like, we have to figure out a way for us to connect with our body in an intelligent and an informed and in an honoring version of listening to the information given to us through pain and emotions and, I don't know, not swallowing or falling asleep at stoplights. That's all data, right? Like, so that we can make real choices to show up for ourselves in self-love, which to me, self-love and self-care are the same, because that is us showing our physical selves, which is the thing we live in every day until we die, that we care about it. Just like we take care of a child. So it's the same thing. We have to love hard on ourselves. And that love, generally, in my mind, starts with honoring our biological parts of ourselves. Going to the bathroom, you have to go to the bathroom. Eating food when you're hungry, like, instead of saying, well, I can't, for whatever reasons we've been, I don't like saying the word program, but we've adopted from other people. We'll say that. So seeing the spiritual counselor, love her to death. She moves away. So I got to kind of figure this out on my own. And what I honestly, this is where I actually went to intuitive school for a while, actually 3 years. So I actually am also trained in reading chakras and seeing visions for people and all that stuff and feeling people's emotions. And what I discovered was our emotions, which are part of our body's way of talking to us, really primal lizard brain way, right? Animals have emotions, disgust. So we spit out the butterfly that's poisonous, right? If we were an animal, or, things that we are happy about because that drives us to want to spend more time with them, things that we hate because that keeps us away from it, or things that we fear to either run away or to behave in a different manner to stay safe, which comes into the social piece of our lives, right? So we have this kind of interesting programming that if we behave a certain way, we don't get kicked out of the zebra herd and eaten by a lion. That's the fastest way to get there, right? So I behave like this, so you'll love me, so you won't kick me out. And now I stay alive until, God knows what else happens, till it's the end of my time. And so if we start putting all of these things together and noticing that, why did I have so much bad anxiety? I thought I had to be a different person than who I was to be alive and loved and all the things to move forward in my life, which creates an entire life that may not necessarily be what I would have authentically chosen, which means I feel very uncomfortable inside myself. I used to wake up in the morning and imagine that I could unzip the bodysuit I was wearing and that I would step out of it and be the person who I am. Yeah. That level of muck inside, like yourself, is, I don't know how to say it. I know you know what I meant by that sound, right? You're just all, like, I hate this. I hated that feeling. And that was anxiety. It was stress. It was cortisol. It was nervous system reaction. It was all these different things. And what I started doing is I had this vision, actually, after doing all that intuitive work, that I was supposed to be working with the body somehow. And so I jump into this body class with this intuitive woman who helps actually just readings on people to tell them what diseases they have and stuff like that. She's amazing. And I was like, oh, that's what I should do. I'm really intuitive, blah, 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 blah. I'll do all that. And I was like, whoa, that's not for me. Like, I don't want to know what's happening inside you. Like, I don't want to be the grim reaper of like, you have this. That's not, I can't. But in that, this is what's so fascinating to me. I have this book and it was literally called like The Body for, the dummies, like whatever for dummies, those yellow books. And I think Anatomy for Dummies. And I'm like, I'm getting my coaching, like intuitive coaching thing. And I'm trying to learn this skill. And you know how this goes when you're just trying to take in as much data as possible. Like I can't memorize the entire anatomy again, right? I did once for my fitness instructors thing, like certification. But anyway, so I'm like, well, I take the book and I open it and I'm on whatever page it lands on. That's for me. That's the thing. And I literally open it up and it lands on the very first page of like a 5-part discussion on the nervous system. And I'm like, okay. So I start diving into that. And lo and behold, here we are. Like, nervous system is running the show. So for anybody, if you want one takeaway from today, know that you are not the boss until you start rewiring your body so that you are the boss, like your conscious mind. Otherwise, especially if you're after like the age of 35, you are 95% pre-programmed stuff in your subconscious and nervous system. Pre-programmed behavior and beliefs, which would make sense because we need to know how to be able to live in this world. We need to adopt external views and opinions until we are old enough, meaning adults, to start making our own decisions and to start challenging old beliefs and behavior patterns. And so that brought me to like, you have to get the nervous system calm. Just like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? At the very base level, you have to make sure your body knows it's safe and like being taken care of. And then you get to start moving up. Like, I feel safe. Now I get to like adjust and look for other like, other circumstances that I can move. Do I have like a community that I feel safe in? Do I have friends and loved ones and so forth? But if your physical body has been dysregulated, like myself, I was 38 when all of that kind of went to pot. Like, if you're 38, that's a lot of years of holding on to things and stuff. And the nervous system holds on to all of your negative stories, meaning negative experiences where you didn't get to show up for yourself. Meaning that time on the playground when Judy called you a dumbhead and you wanted to cry, but you had to be cool because you didn't want people to think you were a crier. And now you held those tears in and your body's like, oh, well, stress. That was a stress story that we didn't finish. We didn't feel the emotion, and we didn't take action, like slapping Judy across the face, or I don't know, running away or something, whatever would have been acceptable behavior for that situation in third grade. I don't think third graders slap, but you get it. So the nervous system goes, okay, we'll hold that for later because we need you to have taken action. If you were an animal in nature, you would have run down and tackled Judy, the other like cub, and you would have wrestled it out for a while, and then everything would have been fine. But we didn't. I held it on. I held into it. Judy told me a dumbhead. I felt embarrassed and all these things. And instead of honoring what my physical body's reaction was, I held it like a storage facility of my past emotions and stresses. That's another way to think about it. Every time I didn't show up for myself. And so that makes a nervous system that no longer trusts you and says, hey, we should be on alert all the time. We're going to dump cortisol into your body all the time. We're going to make that your norm because you've been through a lot. You don't clearly know how to take care of yourself or listen to us accurately. So we'll do the work on this back end section, and we're going to keep you really understand, we're going to keep you super alert. And I mean, all the time, right? For all those people who can't sleep at night. So if we take human living right now, and then we apply that to a lizard brain, or we'll come back even to the zebra brain. So we're still in the mammal side. So you apply it like an animal's life compared to a human's life. Animals are like, I go to the bathroom when I want, I eat when I want, I sleep when I want. Sometimes I run away from things. That's great when I need to. I know how to process my stress and trauma. Like I'm the zebra, almost got eaten by the lion, but I know that if you see animals, they start shaking to get rid of the cortisol response. Now I go back to normal. I'm going to go back to they're not worried about it all the time. And also, interesting fact, animals don't die of a lot of diseases because their bodies actually know how to heal themselves. I was actually listening to someone the other day, and her first name is Irene, and for the life of me, I can't remember her second name. If I remember it, I will tell you later. But she's heavy into nervous system. That's like her whole profession. And she's like, biologically speaking, humans in comparison to animals, humans should live to be able to be like 120 or 140. If you compare the biomarkers, right? Why do we not? Because we are so congested with cortisol and hormones and things from not honoring how our body really wants to react. That's a huge cause of autoimmune disease, which is where I was, I think, right on that edge, right? My functional nutritionist was like, oh, you definitely have like adrenal fatigue, right? And it's because I wasn't taking care of myself, and I was holding on to all the things and stuff from my past. And I'm not saying, just to be clear, I'm not saying you have to sit down for the next 6 weeks and create an autobiography addressing every single one of the problems you had from your past, because your body doesn't care about the specifics. It cares about, it's like, imagine buckets. Here's every time someone did something mean to you and you didn't do anything back, but it hurt your feelings and you felt it. Here's every time, you almost got hit by something and you couldn't, or you did. Let's say you banged your hand or your foot or something, but people were around and so you had to be all cool. I'm cool. You okay? Yeah, I'm fine. That non-response to your physical body's reaction, like inside you want to scream or you want to cry or whatever, but you didn't honor it, that's stuck in you. So you just have to get curious when your body knows, because your body knows how to heal itself. So if you can learn how to feel your body and honor its request, pain, listen to the pain, or, anxiety, we sit at desks all day and we have that anxiety, get up and move your body. It just wants to run away. Your computer is now the bear and the lion. And it just wants you to get up and walk away from the computer and the bear, and then let that out a little bit. It's when you off gas an Instant Pot before the whole steam blows up, that's what you're doing. Little baby releases, right? So that's where I land in all of this Bodywise stuff, because when we talk about making changes in our lives, We have anxiety, we have depression, we have all of this oddness. Like I said, even autoimmune disease, things like that. We keep thinking that there's all these external factors that we need to be adjusting. And I'm not saying that's not true, right? You don't want to be near, I don't like saying the word toxic people, but you don't like want to be near people that don't make you feel good and safe, right? So yes, but most of the time, it's your body that just needs to be healed. And the more your body and nervous system feel safe and that you know how to take care of it and that you'll show up for yourself, you'll self-care, you'll self-love, you can pretty much tolerate anything. Like, and it's not even tolerate, that's that resilience word. Like, okay, that happened. Like, and I genuinely, not because I'm disconnected, not because I'm ignoring it, so my body still feels so safe. And in the light of your podcast being about self-love, I would love to offer this. When you have treated your body as it's part of you, as opposed to a vehicle that just gets you from A to B, that is self-love. And when you love yourself so much, meaning every part of your body, and it doesn't mean you're stoked because it's like perfect. I'm not talking about perfection. I'm not like, even in this moment, still trying to like get my 6-pack or, you know what I mean? So it doesn't mean that, but it does mean that I love every cell in my body. I love who I am becoming. I value and appreciate all that I have been as experiential learning to be even more myself. The more I show up authentically for myself, that's self-love. The more I start curating, if you will, my belief systems so that they're actually mine and not those that I've adopted, because it is a mind-body thing, right? So the more that I own who I am and go, you can't mess with me because I love myself so much, nervous system relaxes. So it's a tandem. First, I got to heal the nervous system. But once it's healed, and then I start focusing on my mental piece, like coming back to that conscious part of power that I have, and I start really utilizing it to go, I do love myself. Oh my God, I love myself so much. It's amazing. I love that I love that I failed because I love that I learned how to be a person even more. And I'm in a body, right, to person and to human. And the more that I do that, I joke with my clients, and I won't do it on your thing the way I do it and thing, but I call it the like getaway circle, although I use a much more interesting hand gesture for it because once you love yourself so much, it doesn't mean I'm perfect, and it doesn't mean I won't fail, and it doesn't mean I'm right. It means that I value my choices and my decisions because I'm honoring myself. And if I fail, that's great data. And if it works, that's great data. And I have deep self-compassion. And that is what you get to be at once you've started creating a relationship with your body. And that's my spiel. And I even have a fun acronym for it if you want to hear it, but that's my spiel.
Man, that is just a powerful message, Nicole, because I know many times we all found ourselves, trying to live up not only to others' expectations, but our own expectations. But I didn't realize that how stress of trying to accept things from others and our own, or putting that stress on our bodies and not really allowing us to, like you said, show up as a person we want to be. And as we're not showing up, it puts that much stress. Like I think it's a powerful that you have acknowledged, are able to acknowledge how your body feels, and, to realize that your nervous system could take that much. It's a powerful message.
Thank you. I think, and I wish I could quote, like, I'm horrible at remembering where I get the data. So thank you to everyone I've ever read who's put the ideas in my head. But, recently, someone was talking about the happiest, we've got our Brene Browns, right? But the happiest and the healthiest people are those who are living the most authentic lives. So authenticity. But authenticity comes with great risk. Well, at least we think so, right? Our nervous system thinks so. Because if we are truly who we are and we are not, well, that's not the right word. What would be the right word? Well, I'm going to go with it. Manipulated or created or molded by other people's expectations, or what we assume, or our assumptions of other people's expectations, which that's a whole other story. Then if we just show up and ask ourselves in our own integrity and our own self-worth and our own value, what feels right for me, and what feels right. So we drop into the body, and then we have enough self-awareness to kind of to navigate, is that fear or is it my truth, right? So you kind of have to get curious in that space, because I know for me, a lot of times my first thing is, no, we don't want to do that. And I'm like, why doth you protest so much? Right? Like, you got to get curious about that. And the more I am anal about not wanting to do that thing, then I even get more curious, because I'm like, is that mine? Or do I need to so it doesn't take a lot of time, right? I just have to get curious. So curiosity is the healing of the world, frankly. So as I get curious about myself and the decisions I want to make and the reactions that my body has, and I start to delineate what is actually my truth versus not, what's authentic versus not, I heal more and I'm happier. Because in my honesty of myself, in my integrity, and in that honoring of who I really am and what I truly believe, because I've done the work and the wonderment and the exploration to know what that really is, my life gets better every day. And I wake up, I take my vitamins, I do my exercising. Nervous system does need movement. It does need strength. There's physical body stuff that's absolutely involved, but there's a deep understanding that we are very programmable people just by nature of of the fact that we are like, and the science behind that is extraordinarily big. So just take my word for it. Every moment that things are happening around you, your subconscious is taking that data and going, how do I fit into that? So so you have to be consciously aware of that too. You have to know who you are, and you have to love who you are enough to go get away circle. I can do this without anybody else. I don't need the rest of my zebra herd. I'll be all right. I'm not an animal. Well, I am an animal, but you get it. You see my point. I'm not a zebra. We'll deal with that. I'm not a zebra. I can do anything I need for myself. And I love myself so much. And I take care of myself so much, because it is so valuable that my body and my mind are working together as this beautiful team. And that's where healing comes. I mean, that's healing. That's holistic, body-wise, that wisdom that the body is providing to us all the time. Heart center puts out more energy than your brain, right? So when we tap into that center of ourselves, which to me is like brain and spirituality and body and primal body, we get right here, we get a lot more data. And that's that self-love. So my little WISE acronym, the body WISE, the WISE stands for wake up to your body's signals, right? That's the first one. The I stands for, and so you know what? It was another podcast person was like, you need an acronym. And I'm like, great. That's where we ended up here. Anyway, the I stands for interrupt behaviors, your immediate reactional behaviors and your beliefs. So you have to interrupt those kind of reactive beliefs and behaviors just to check on them. Maybe they're accurate for you, maybe they're not, but you have to get curious about them, because we do become habitual in how we just do. And if we don't challenge it or get curious about those adaptive behaviors and adaptive beliefs, then maybe it's something that worked when you were again in third grade and Judy was calling you a dumbhead, but maybe you don't need to do that now because you're an adult and you don't need other third graders on your side. And then the S stands for self-care is sustainability, meaning self-care is primary in your ability to show up as a living individual that has the just health capacity to enjoy life, right? We have to take care of ourselves. That's why we have to live a sustainable life. And that means relieving stress. That means eating well. That means whatever, personal health and well-being, hygiene, brush your teeth, all that kind of stuff. We have to, because if we don't feel good in our body because it's sick, because it's overwhelmed by our emotions and our traumas and our stresses and real problems, we don't have the adaptive reservoir to be able to show up on a day-to-day life, to do the things that we really want to do, to travel or to be successful, etc. And then the E stands for so many different things that I kind of willy-nilly choose. It can be embodiment. That's when you get through this process, you're learning what embodiment meant. When I had no idea, all these woo people are like, you need to be sovereign and embodied. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And just for anybody out there who doesn't, embodiment just means like being aware of yourself. Like, I'm aware of my thoughts. It's self-awareness, really, right? That's what mindfulness is. Mindfulness is self-awareness. I'm mindful and paying attention to my thoughts and my actions. Like, we've made all these weird words that make it very confusing, right? And somatic, oh, so trendy. And I use it with myself, but somatic just means to feel the stuff inside yourself, feel the sensations in your body. That's it. Feel your emotions. Notice the sensations that are related to those emotions. That's it. Be somatic. Yay, winning. So embodiment gives you empowerment in your own life. It gives you engagement. Notice all my E's. And, you know, exponentially more, but we'll stick with those three. So be body wise. That's why I came up with it. I'm just like, I don't know how else to explain it, but I don't want to get something so complicated, right?
Man, I just love that. I really love that. I think, I feel like we're in a world where everybody's telling you how you should be, but I really love that approach. Like you said, is really authentically to yourself. And that experience in itself can be fearful, right? Because your body is, like you said, we're naturally people. We all want to fit in. We all want to be liked. We all want to be accepted. Really, the importance of finding who you are in there and loving yourself for who you are. Like you said, not zebras, but you need to figure out who you are in that process. If you do that, just that powerful release and joy that you're going to have because you know who you are and you know who you show up as. That's such a powerful message in itself. Like, wow, that's awesome.
Thank you. I don't know. It came from somewhere. I feel like all that intuitive work, like, I wish I could take more credit for it, but I feel like collective consciousness, okay, whatever. My word, like, I kind of feel like and I want to offer this too to everybody. If you can't, not fate, but if you start looking at the way your life has come up and the things and experiences you've had, both good, bad, and otherwise, right? And start putting, without attachment to them, without even labeling them good, bad, or otherwise, right? But maybe even uncomfortable or whatever. And just start kind of connecting the dots of what experiences or learnings, right, happened in all of those. You really do get to figure out what is for you and what is not for you. And it's the contrast of life that helps us live more authentically, because we have to know what we don't like. We have to know what we do like. And we need to just honor, we have all these senses and these emotions to experience life in its totality, and we ignore all of them. But when we tune into them, suddenly we start to heal. And when we start honoring them and acknowledging them and being grateful for them, again, good, bad, or otherwise, we start to heal and feel better. And we get more guidance from that, which means that we get to just live into our truth. So it's just, we are so trained. That's going to be my new word, trained. We are so trained to think that we have to control our outside world. But our outside world, generally, from my experience with like over 100 clients and God knows all the people in our own lives that makes it really easy to pay attention to, our external worlds and experiences and situations currently and circumstances generally reflect something inside of us that we need to heal.
Yes.
Because that's what we get to do when we come up against that struggle. We get to find out what it is in us that we believe about that struggle and why we're there. Is it me? Probably is. I believe that I deserve this problem, and so I'm allowing it to continue, versus, this doesn't feel right for me. I'm going to heal that. I think that we all deserve to be happy and healthy, all of it, money, everything, health, wealth, wisdom, all of that. We all deserve it just by simply being. But we have to know that that is true for us. And we have to get real deep inside there through understanding the body, the mind, the subconscious, all of that, to heal that. And then the external world fixes itself. I saw a white dove yesterday that flew over my car and landed right in front of me. A white dove. And I was like, that's alignment, my friend. That is the peace that I've been like, that is the symbol of the peace that I've been searching for in my physical body, in my mind, in my external world, everything. And a dove landed right in front of me and like stared at me. And I was like, whoa. So now I'm done. Mic drop, the white dove.
Yes, man, that's such a powerful message because I really love how you talked about that. It's really when we start to find that awareness, we're able to start to heal. I think many times, we're told that, as not to acknowledge it, like our many times we push those emotions down, we push our feelings down so many times that we are in a natural state of avoiding, right? But I love how you said it's not to really acknowledge those feelings and how when you acknowledge them, it allows you to heal.
Yeah.
I love that.
Well, especially emotions, because
But
emotions come with beliefs,
yeah.
right? And that's where
Ooh,
like you
yes.
feel an emotion, and the thing is, and I understand it, I get why we all are doing the way things we do. Like there's no one on this planet where I'm like so angry at because of their behavior, because we are, again, we land where we are because of our experiences. That's just what's stuck inside of us. So whatever, that's fine. Deep love for everybody. However, to heal from these things is to feel those things, and it makes sense that we are such a disconnected society currently, right?
Yeah.
In our devices and all that, because we create essentially, like I call them your marble jar. Like your body is your jar of just all of these negative emotions that you've never felt in their totality, and so it's super uncomfortable in there. But
Yes.
that pain and discomfort from
Mm.
negative emotions were intended in our animalistic version of ourselves, our primal version of ourselves, to make us take action. And we just didn't. And so as we start to heal, those
Mm.
things shift and we feel better in our bodies. But we have to feel it to heal it. Like we have to feel it, the emotion that comes
Yes,
up, feel
I
it.
love
Ugh,
that.
it feels horrible. And you only have to feel an emotion for 90 seconds before it will go away, if your brain doesn't attach a
Ooh.
reason to it.
Mm. Man, powerful. Feel it to heal it, man. That is such a powerful statement in itself. So, what advice would you give an individual that's maybe seeking to break free from the stress and exhaustion and really, authentic self?
The first thing I would recommend is just movement, which is great for you. Yay! Right? How
Yay.
often, or when you work with your clients as a trainer, right? Do they suddenly, like you're in the middle of doing bicep curls and all of a sudden they just start spewing out all this data? Because movement unlocks our body's held tension stress stories. Movement,
Yeah.
walking,
Yeah.
walking while moving the eyes back and forth, because you need this kind of this lateral movement, but walking relaxes the nervous system. Going into nature relaxes the nervous system. Why? Because we are nature. Nature then would be the most reasonable place that our physical body would feel comfortable and feel like in relation to, right? Even when you just look at trees and all of the ways branches go, right? That's what our lungs look like. That's what our eye, like the nerve, the blood vessels in the eyes. So nature, walking, any twisting movement, actually, just as a really fast one, anything that twists the body in that transverse plane, right? Like actually helps the nervous system relax. And for anybody who's like, I know we're at the end. Meditation is great if you've already moved. Because I want to meditation is a very valuable thing, but for everybody who's like, I've tried meditation, it doesn't work. Here's probably why. If my body's used to running from a lion all the time, I'm running from the lion because there's always a lion chasing me because my body thinks that's the safest way. Everything's a threat, right? That's an autoimmune. I start attacking my insides even. If I'm running from a lion, would it make sense that I would stop out of nowhere and like get into meditation position and be like, pause, lion, I need to meditate so you will go away? Like, no. No, your body is going to be like, what are you doing? Like, it's go time for safety and for all of the goodness. Like, this is a bad call. And so that's why you can't meditate. Your brain's like, we got to be thinking about the next thing that's coming around the turn. Maybe there are more lions. Maybe the herd's right over there and we could be right over there in safety again. Like, so that's why your brain can't quiet, because your body is it's freaking out. And it's like, this is the dumbest thing you've ever done, is just sit in front of the lion while or sleeping. Same thing, right? You fall asleep because you're so tired, but you wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, lions all over my room. We just, we have whatever. It's like the Bills or I don't know, your kids. But those are all lions in this scenario. So move your body. Move it. We sit all day. We're stressed out at work. All it wants to do is run away from, like I said, the computer or whatever. So move your body. And then I do have a nice little, it's a 3-minute reset that you can do multiple times over the course of a day, because it includes movement and breath. Breath is a huge nervous system regulator. But I also want to say that I used to try a bunch of different breathing practices, and it used to stress my body out more. So this is very gentle, and even you can cater it to just paying attention to the breath, not trying to control it. Because remember, the body knows what's best for you a lot of the time. So that's an interesting piece. So it's a movement, 1 minute of movement, 1 minute of breath, and 1 minute of rewiring your perspective of the situation. Because that's in that quiet, we get a chance, we get a little window to go, is what I'm thinking right? Or is this right? I'm safe right now. There are no lions currently in the room, right? Double check just to be sure. So you're doing a movement, calm the body, breath, calm really the nervous system, rewire, get into the brain while you have a. And if you start implementing that little process, like I said, I have a little flyer that explains it in more detail, but you get access to way more space inside your body, which gives you more space to act authentically, which gives you more space to be curious, which gives you more space to be healthy and be successful and to connect with others, right? The nervous system in its beautiful form is actually designed for social interaction. And yet when it's stressed out, it wants to run away from everybody. So voila.
Man, Nicole, you have such a powerful message and so much amazing information. I know exactly what the guests are thinking, right? They're thinking, how do I stay in contact with Nicole Hope Sylvester? How do people stay in contact with you?
So I have a website, and on the website under services, I do 15-minute chats with people because everybody has a different experience, and I really value information to people. And that's that, or wherever. And I also am on LinkedIn. I mean, I'm on all the social media places, but I love my LinkedIn and my Facebook the best. So come check me out there and reach out to me. I want people to feel like they have these opportunities, and that means reach out to anybody that you think can support you. We are then also, again, really trained to think that we have to solve all of our problems on our own. We just, or we don't have time. And so that comes back to that sustainability piece. Self-care is self-love is sustainability, right? When I love myself enough, and maybe I can't get there yet, but I can self-care for myself. Parents, right? You can justify the value of you being in health and well-being enough to do a thing for yourself so that you can show up for your kids better. I always try to find those little mind hacks, right? Or, and really, I know parents, but everyone, you deserve to be happy and healthy. You just deserve it by nature of the fact that you are living in this very moment. You deserve it. So self-care for yourself and get a little bit more curious about how you can love your life more. That's it. I mean, and just take that little baby risk, even when everything in the background, get curious about anything that is stopping you from doing whatever that next step is for you to self-care, getting a personal trainer, going to the gym, meeting new hiking groups or whatever it is. You're like, ooh, I bet that would really help my physical well-being. Oh, get curious about what that thing is that comes up that says, but, because that's not yours. That's some adopted something that came from someone else some other time. Who knows? So I think that's... I think I came back around.
So powerful, Nicole. Thank you so much for that. All right, you guys. Hey, I'm gonna make it super simple for you to stay connected with Nicole here. I'm gonna put all of her links to under this post, making sure you guys take a screenshot, DMing her, and thanking her for sharing her message and sharing all the knowledge with us today. But I really love something she said there. Many times we find ourselves trying to do everything ourselves. But I think that's the most powerful thing as self-care is really asking for help of somebody who's not only gone through the journey, but that can guide you through the journey. And there's nothing more powerful than having a guide alongside of you. And that's exactly what Nicole offers here. So, Nicole, if you had to leave everybody with a last little inspirational message, what would you want to leave listeners with?
Ooh, okay. The PowerPoint. I would say if you can't do anything else, just get really curious. Just get curious about everything. Curious about why you do what you do and why you feel what you feel, and curious about who you're hanging out with, and curious about life, because that really will bring you back to yourself. And really, a nervous system in stress gets very narrow, very centrally focused, so that it can only focus in one direction. And curiosity starts to open that. It like bridges that gap out of that stress and exhaustion without adding more stress. Because you're like, I can be curious about it. That's a non-attachment way to do it, right? If I'm curious, that feels very neutral. I'm just going to find out more about it. So get curious about life.
Yes, you guys, you heard it right there. So like I said, I'm going to put all of Nicole's links on this episode, her Facebook, her LinkedIn. I'm sure this isn't the last time you heard from Nicole. Reach out to her for her message. And remember, like she said there, get curious. And most importantly, ask for help along the way. All right, friends.